Ever since I did a video on my Browning High Power the other day, everyone keeps asking me, are you going to remove the magazine disconnect? 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 So tonight, I thought I would answer that question and say, okay, I'll remove the magazine disconnect. I can always put it back if I decide I don't like it out, but I'm going to take it out, see if it's any better. And then I'll compare the trigger weights from before, which I tested the other day, and test the trigger weights after and see if it makes any noticeable difference. As you can see here, I already have the slide off, so I'm just going to set that aside. And I'll need like a little bottle cap here, and I'll show you why I need this bottle cap in a moment. I'm going to lay the bottle cap on the table and then lay my cloth over my bottle cap, and then lay my gun on that with the bottle cap inside the trigger guard here. That way, when I'm punching this little pin out, I'm not bashing my trigger around. Okay, now that that's out, I'm going to sit it right here so I don't lose it, because I'm really good at losing these things. Then I'm going to reach in here and pull the little doojamahickey out of the way here, the little hand or whatever you want to call it, and pull that back out of the way, and then I'll just pull the little disconnect out. Okay, I ran into a little complication here while I was doing this, while I had the camera off and didn't know it. So I had to take the trigger out completely. To do that, I just put a little tape on the side here, punched out the trigger pin, rotated the trigger out. So now I took the part out. The reason I had to do that is because the end broke off of the little magazine disconnect, because I guess now they're plastic instead of metal like they used to be, so it didn't come out so easily. So had to take the trigger out and then pull the rest of it out, what was left in it after the head broke off of it here. And this is what was left once the little head broke off of it. As you can see, plastic now, just broke right off. So had to take the trigger out. Now I gotta get this damn thing to rotate back up in there while it's out. Oh, I should go ahead and put the pin back in this while I've got it out here. You don't really need the pin now, but it's still good to have it for looks. Okay, it's back in there, and for the sake of argument, let's pretend it went right back in, and I didn't just spend the last half an hour trying to get it in there and cursing at it. Okay, now I'm going to put the trigger back in here. Just got to line it up with the holes, which I'm never good at getting holes lined up. I know, that's what she said. Okay, trigger's back in. Time to put it back together and see if there's any difference. Hands are a little shaky. Feels a lot better already, but we'll have to give it a test here. Okay, let's test the trigger weight on it now. Okay, the first one is 5 pounds, 11 ounces. Second one is 6 pounds, 1 ounces. And 5 pounds, 15 ounces. So about 6 pounds seems to be the average. It's right on 6 pounds for the average. So that simple task of taking out the magazine safety makes the gun safer for carry, if you ask me, because now it'll fire even if the magazine comes loose. And it reduced the trigger pull weight from 8.5 pounds, a little over 8.5 pounds, to around 6 pounds. That's quite a change. Now the trigger on this thing isn't feather light because it still has the heavy mainspring, etc. It's still set up to fire hard primer ammo. So if that spring is that strong, the mechanism that holds it in place has to be strong, therefore it takes quite a bit of energy to remove that mechanism. Now if I reduce that spring tension there, I'll be able to lighten the trigger even more. And I do have a spring kit coming, so we'll see what that does. But for now, just taking out that magazine disconnect made a huge difference.